J.A.M. coming to you live from the Renatus studios right here in Centerville, Utah. My name is Jay Stark.
And I'm Matt Snyder.
And we are bringing to you the latest and greatest when it comes to all things Renatus.
Yeah, we are.
So Matt, let me ask you a question. You know, we had the Profits Intensive this past weekend.
Yes, we did.
What'd you think?
It kicked butt. Can I say butt on air?
I think you just did twice.
Aaron, can you bleep that?
Can we bleep that out?
It's got a thumbs up. Yes. I thought it was fantastic.
It was awesome, wasn't it?
Oh, yeah. And we had, how many people did we have? We filled like 1,700 seats or something,
Yeah, we were
spots.
actually
I don't know what you call
over
them.
1,800.
Wow.
Over 1,800.
Yeah, that's cool. That was, you just can't do that with a live audience. Not here
in the studio.
Not in, that kind of space, time frame and everything. So there is a benefit to going virtual. That's for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I want to just say one time, I appreciate the patience of everybody who joined us online. For any of the technical difficulties that we had so few complaints. So many people were just so happy with the information they were receiving. I received so much positive feedback. I want to say thank you to everybody that joined us on Saturday, but it truly was phenomenal content. I was blown away with just how much the instructors were sharing.
Yeah.
And just how they were, they just brought it.
Yeah. That's what I love about them. Especially if you're going to bring somebody down, you want them to get education. You don't want them to get a sales pitch. And that's what I particularly love about those intensives is it's real, rock solid information.
Oh, yeah.
So
now that we have the intensive behind us, our next event upcoming is the leadership training that we're doing in just a couple of weeks. And I believe it's August 22nd, if I remember right. Yeah, okay. August 22nd. We're going to be doing that leadership training that is going to be in the stead of our postponed leadership retreat training.
So tell me how that's going to work. Do you be 1-star, 3-star, or 5-star to be able to watch?
Is it
all ICMs?
I think if we have enough people let us know that they would like all ICMs to have that available, I bet I could convince Bob to make that open to all ICMs.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
It would be an upside. It stinks that the leaders retreat had to be canceled, but that's a huge plus, and that's an upside is that those that couldn't have made it otherwise will be able to get that training. And then if we, guess we'll have to hear from the people.
Aaron, what was your question?
Just what we can expect to see on that Saturday.
So that Saturday is going to be Bob and potentially 1 or 2 assorted guests. And that's it. And it's going to be about 5 hours long is my understanding.
Yeah.
We'll go from about 9 in the morning till 2 in the afternoon. And it's basically going to be Bob for the most part. And honestly, who better to train us on how to be leaders than the leader?
I agree. And I think that there's a lot that, I guess what I'm hoping to see is I want to see him teach and go back to the foundation of what built Renatus and selling. Yeah. And let's go focus on those crucial things, I have a love and appreciation for the basics with everything. If I'm trying to learn something and do it well, I guess I've learned over time that I have to revisit those basics regularly.
Yeah. And truth is universal, right? Bruce Lee even said, I would rather fight a man who has practiced 10,000 kicks than fight the man who has practiced one kick 10,000 times. That's interesting. It is truly getting to the basics. Because once you've mastered those basics,
that's it.
I watched
it's a good quote. I've never heard that quote.
So really?
Yeah,
I love that quote.
That. I like
that. So
I
watched a video once with Michael Jordan where he was teaching somebody how to do a crossover, which is a simple maneuver where you're taking the ball from one hand to the other. And when he walked through the technicality of it and the details of it, I just realized I know nothing about this game.
Right. There's more to it than you think, but you gotta get those basics.
Yeah.
Was that by chance The Last Dance that you were watching, the Netflix TV series that they did on Michael Jordan?
I don't recall.
Man, well, it was just released like maybe a month or two
Okay,
ago,
no,
something
then it
like
definitely
that,
wasn't that.
I'm like 2-3 episodes in. Oh man, great.
It's a good one, huh?
Yeah, I mean, that was the Bulls' heyday back then. I remember watching the Jazz Game 7, right?
Yeah.
Like Michael Jordan playing with the flu. Like there's a lot there. Anyways,
Oh man,
good old days. But
it is. It really is a true principle, though, that bringing it back to the basics is what will create elemental success for people, right? It's what got the bus moving down the road in the first place.
yeah.
And sometimes we get really stuck on reinventing the wheel, having authorship of it, being able to put our own spin on everything, when in reality, if we go back to the basics of see the people, tell the story, build for events, and follow up, all of a sudden we'll see that those basics work.
Couldn't agree more. I tell you, that's how I always marketed, and I love it. That's how I was successful.
Yeah.
That was drilled into me, though.
Didn't your dad say that he earned his first $1 million on a cocktail napkin and a pen?
Yeah.
Because that's all he needed to draw out the comp plan.
That's how he laid it out.
And then he would hand it to somebody.
And I remember being there for it. I'm at 10, 11 years old. We'd go out to, Denny's or I don't know, whatever restaurant or something and sit down, and he would lay it all out. I've seen him do it with cups of water and a napkin and like whatever you got to do to create the visual, lay it out. And, once people understood it, and he kept it pretty simple, but you got to, once it clicks, once people understand it, then they get excited. They realize what they're looking at. And yeah, it was fun. So,
yeah. So in this era of being, more distance from one another, physically, every other way, how do people build belly to belly now?
During COVID?
Yeah.
Man, it's tough. You've got to go to to the people you are close with, because you're generally, I think people you're seeing somebody still.
Right.
The circle of people that I see on a regular basis has shrunk pretty significantly, but I still see family.
Right.
I still am in contact with my friends, and many of them are looking for a good way to make some income.
Yeah.
So
I think a lot of people are looking around right now at their rock solid job and thinking, maybe this wasn't as rock solid as I thought it was.
I'm seeing that across the board, not even just in job, just everything. There's a lot of uncertainty, and so I think people are looking for other ways. Don't keep all your eggs in one basket, so to speak.
Wow. Well, we could talk about this all day long.
Yep.
But what I really wanted to talk about today, Matthew, you are our featured guest for the day.
It's me.
You are our guest.
Finally.
We every Monday morning on the Pack Call, you share an experience. We call them good vibrations, right?
Yep. Put them good vibrations out in the universe.
Where
Story.
You basically take an example of somebody typically somebody successful, and talk about what helped them to create their success.
Dude, so this has been so much fun for me. Understanding how people think and psychology and all that stuff is very fascinating to me.
Oh, yeah.
And so being able to go through successful person after every single week, I highlight somebody who's had some kind of success, no kind of category, if you will, that just they've achieved success or achieved their dreams in their life.
Right.
And I get to see what they were like before, during, and after, and the psychological battle during, and just how they thought. So it's been really fun for me to get to see this, because it's put so much more of an emphasis on how you think. For me, I see this like the way that you think, your thoughts, your attitudes towards things, you have so much more control over your life than you thought you did, right? Like if you're going to be a victim, then you're going to end up being a victim. But if you really have a positive attitude, by the way, positivity, like scientifically proven to do all of these great things, but every single one of these people just would not quit and had faith that someday this is going to work out. I'm going to keep pushing through the pain. I love it.
Nice. So we've been doing this podcast now. I think this is our 11th, 12th, 15th.
Ooh,
I can count. 15th
we're
podcast.
Pros now.
We are
I think
pros.
our rookie season's over.
Right? We're in our sophomore effort
That's
here.
right.
So,
We got drafted by Aaron.
Yes. So I feel like we have seen we've seen common themes with people that have created success.
Yes.
What would you say that positivity and that unwillingness to give up are common themes with all of the people that you've done research on?
Yeah. The two most common would be positive attitude and just an unwillingness to give up no matter what. Sometimes that kind of shows up in like they just can't stop thinking about it. It's their dream or whatever. In some cases, they're not really running to something, but they're running away from this negative experience, and they just can't stop pushing towards whatever, some type of freedom, if you will,
right.
Whether, like, I don't know what you want to call it,
well,
financially or whatever.
Well, you even have like the example of who was the very first guy that you did who was burned?
Glenn Cunningham.
Glenn Cunningham.
Yes, it was like 1932, somewhere around there. Don't quote me. Early 30s Olympics, but as a boy, he was in a schoolhouse fire.
Right.
And it actually killed his brother, and it paralyzed him, and his legs were burned very badly. Especially his. There's a tendon in your foot, and one of them was really bad and had to be like removed. Anyways.
And he was burned bad enough the doctors wanted to take his legs.
Yes.
And his parents
fought that pretty hard because there were multiple doctors convinced that he would never walk again and that they needed to take his legs, and his parents just fought him tooth and nail over it, and he was in a wheelchair for a good while. It was like a year or 18 months, something like that. But this is what I mean by freedom. Okay, this is he wanted to be able to run. He wanted to be able to. He didn't want to be wheelchair bound. In his world, that was containing him, or anyways. And so he literally leapt out of it one day, just so frustrated with this wheelchair, and started crawling and trying to use his legs, and he started to do that more and more and more until his, I don't know how the science, but neural pathways start to rebuild. He starts to learn how to use those muscles again, and eventually he could walk with help, and then without help. And then he started walking to school. He walked, and he basically was doing as much as he physically could all the time. Right. And eventually moved into running, and then got on the college track team, and then went to the Olympics and won. Set a lot of world records.
Well, I was going to say, wasn't he one of the first people to break the mile?
I don't remember.
If I remember right,
I highlighted him like a year ago, so it's been a while. But yeah, I don't remember exactly, but he set world records. That I do know.
Yeah.
It was pretty incredible. So somebody that was literally wheelchair bound, and
I'm going to look it up real quick.
It's an amazing story. Glenn Cunningham, double N, 2 N's, Glenn, and then Cunningham.
So yeah. He was. His goal. So ultimately, he didn't set out as a kid to be a runner, right?
No, he just wanted freedom from that wheelchair. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And so he was really moving away from something.
Yep.
And ended up having a goal of hitting the 4-minute mile.
And he did it? I don't remember.
I don't think he was the one who did it.
He had a lot of records and a lot of world records.
Right.
Like, he had like 3 world records and tons of other records. And so I don't remember everything that he had set, but it's a pretty impressive story.
Oh, yeah, it's pretty cool. But so tell me, I kind of asked you to, that's totally Glenn Cunningham right there. Got a little picture of him coming your way.
Right on.
But so tell us, what are some of your favorite people that you've talked about, or some of the favorite stories that you've told?
This is a tough one. This is a really tough one because there are so many.
Right.
and done across basically the last like 200 years, right? Like Glenn
You've
Cunningham's
been doing
30s.
this for that long?
No, but I've been highlighting people in the last 2 centuries, right?
Oh,
like,
gotcha. Okay.
So, which, I think success is all the same, but it definitely, times have changed. And so how you might become financially successful is very different now. Could be through YouTube.
And yet the underlying principles are all the same.
All the same.
Even over the last 200 years.
The basics never change.
Crazy, right?
Crazy.
All right, so give us one right now.
Okay, so this is a personal favorite of mine, but Sylvester Stallone. I especially love to find stories where somebody was really down and out, man, and just they had to really make it happen. Like there was no way they were going to be successful without their actions. It's not like they won the lottery or their rich billionaire dad died and gave them all their money or whatever, right? Like they wanted it and they made it happen. And Sylvester Stallone is that.
Nice.
So yeah, what do you want me to just kind of highlight it or read it or
just kind of go through it because I love his story.
So yeah, right when Stallone was born, the doctor made a mistake and severed a nerve in his face that actually paralyzed part of it, which is why, especially when he was younger, he still kind of has it, but you see that smile, it's a little, yeah, exactly. He's got some paralysis in his face, and that slurred his speech and nearly doomed him as an actor.
Wow.
Right? Like
that's
how
crazy.
can you be a good orator, which an actor generally has to be, right? Unless you're playing somebody who's not. But anyways, so Stallone moved to New York to start his acting career. He had a dream and nobody would hire him, So he was broke. He slept in a New York bus station for 3 weeks prior to getting this big, very, very shortly before getting his big break, if you will. And he actually pawned his wife's jewelry to keep going, because he was living there, he and his wife. And she didn't have his same vision. Okay. She wasn't willing to go through it.
Living in a bus station.
Yeah, that's a rough one, man.
I can see how that
so they didn't see eye to eye. Okay. And in order to literally eat, I mean, he's pawning stuff to come up with money. And so, she left him. And, he had a dog. Stallone had a dog, and this was his companion. This was his best friend in the world. This was the last friend he had. And he ended up having to sell his dog for $25, literally just for money for food. So, I mean, it doesn't get more destitute than that. Like homeless on the street, selling your best friend and dog for $25. I don't know what that would have been back then. Maybe $100 now. I don't know. But I don't know what buying power would have been. But that's still not a lot of money.
Right.
So Stallone knew he had hit rock bottom, and a few weeks after he sold his dog, he was watching Muhammad Ali fight, and he got this idea for Rocky. That's where he got the idea for the screenplay. He sat down and wrote for 20 hours straight after that fight, and that was Rocky. And then he pitched it. This is the most amazing story. He pitched it to producers who offered to buy it for $125,000, but they wouldn't allow him to act in it. And that was his dream, and that was the caveat. He would not sell it without him being able to act in it. So he said no. Broke and destitute.
Dude, $25 he sells his dog, and he doesn't accept $125,
right?
Because it doesn't align with his vision.
Exactly. I mean, can you imagine that? That's the equivalent of a homeless man now probably turning down $300,000, or I don't know. We probably ought to look at the ratio. I have no idea, but it's a lot of money, right? Yeah, $125K is still a lot of money now.
Right.
So, yeah, anyways, so they wouldn't allow him to look or to act in it, and they quite literally said it's because you look and sound stupid. So I guess they weren't as nice back then. Maybe wow. I don't know what it's like to meet producers. Maybe
they really are that.
Maybe they're just all mean. I don't know.
Right.
Anyways,
Aaron.
So he's always mean to me. No, Aaron's awesome.
Leave me out of it, please. Thank you.
So, yeah, anyway, so they said that there's no acting or no ability for Stallone to act. He doesn't fit in their acting world. Okay. Well, turned it down. He still kept trying to sell it. He went to every other agent's office in New York City 6 to 9 times, is what he said.
Wow.
Trying to sell this. But the caveat, he has to play Rocky. So he was getting offers, but he was turning them all down because nobody wanted to take a chance on this guy.
Wow.
So 2 weeks later, the same producers that offered him the 125, they came back and said, we'll give you $250,000 not to star in the movie. Basically, give us the movie, you don't star in it, $250,000. Stallone turned him down again. They came back with a final offer of $330,000. And Stallone still said, no, not without me. I come with it or nothing. So eventually they came back around with an offer allowing him to play Rocky, but would only pay $35,000 and then gave him points on the movie, right? So he had a stake in the success of the movie.
Right.
Well, Stallone accepted that deal and then immediately went to the same liquor store where he had sold his dog. He was standing outside of a liquor store trying to sell his dog. He stood outside that liquor store for 3 weeks trying to find the man that was going to come back and hoping this guy frequented that store, and this guy came back. He wanted to buy his dog back. He offered the $25. The guy said no way. He offered $100. Guy said no way. Went up to $500. I'll give you $500 on a dog you just paid $25 for. No way. By the time negotiations ended, Stallone spent $15,000 buying his dog back. And this guy got a part in Rocky. I would love to do a Good Vibrations on this guy, okay? Because, my goodness, what a negotiator. That is crazy.
That's awesome.
But, it all worked out. So Stallone, he got his dog back. And funny enough, the dog, I think, is Brutus in the movie.
The dog's real name, I think, is Butkus.
Yes, or Butkus. Okay, yeah. So Stallone's dog, though, starred in Rocky with him. This is the same dog, okay? So anyways, so Stallone, had points on this movie, wants to make it successful, wants to make his dreams work. And they filmed this movie. It cost him $1 million to make this movie. And it ended up earning $200 million. And that's back then. That's $1 billion. That's an Avengers movie right now, right? That is nuts. That's unreal. So, it made Stallone one of the most prolific actors in the industry. And today, he's working on his 74th movie. He is, how old is he? He's in his 70s.
Yeah,
I didn't write down
something.
I didn't write down how. Yeah, he's doing multiple blockbusters a year, and he's in his 70s. And he's a multi-millionaire. He's achieved his dream. He's an actor. He's successful, and he's 70 some odd years old and still doing movies.
So he unrelentlessly
never gave up.
He went after his dream.
He was never going to let somebody say no. As a matter of fact, I got a quote from him. It says, I take rejection as someone blowing a bugle in my ear to wake me up and get going rather than retreat. And that's exactly what he did, and that's exactly how he got to where he is.
I read a book not long ago called Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss. So Chris Voss was an international hostage negotiator for the FBI.
Okay.
And he talks about how the answer yes is actually not incredibly effective in a negotiation. And he says what you really want to hear are the two words, that's right.
Okay.
That's when you've actually started the negotiation.
Okay.
Which Chris says, the art of negotiation is the art of allowing somebody else to have your way, which I love. I think that's hilarious.
That's a good quote.
But he says the negotiation really begins when the person says no for the first time.
Yeah.
Because it makes them in control, and you now have somewhere to build from. And so I love that quote from Stallone, just saying, yeah, you know what? The first time somebody tells me no, tells me I can't, first time I get rejected, that's the wake-up call, and he starts from that point forward.
Absolutely.
That's awesome.
Yep. Fantastic
That's way cool.
story. Man, I've got a lot of them.
Yeah. Well, so what else? What was the other one? Because I know that you prepared a couple to talk a little bit about today.
I did. The other one is Arnold Schwarzenegger, and I know these two go hand in hand. And I was like, what a crazy, awesome
that is funny.
story, right? Being in the same, I don't know. I was going to look through my list here and see maybe that. Maybe there's another one. I don't know. What do you think? Do you want to do Schwarzenegger? Or?
Sure, let's do Arnie, man. He's got a great story.
I kind of classify Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sylvester Stallone in the same kind of category, if you will.
They're kind of cut from the same cloth.
They kind of are.
Even though they were born on opposite sides of the world.
Yeah.
Stallone's from Philadelphia, right?
Yes, from Philadelphia, and Schwarzenegger's from Austria.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he was born in Austria. And his father was a local chief of police and served in World War and was just overall not a nice guy. He voluntarily joined the Nazi Party in 1938. So, I mean, right? Arnold says that his parents were very strict, or his dad specifically was very strict, and that he, quote unquote, said, "No patience for listening or understanding your problems." So
that's kind of Bavarian culture right there in a nutshell.
And that's what he said, is that's the way it was back then, right? That's the German Austrian way, as he said. I mean, you're talking about the 40s, the late 40s, 50s. That's the way it was there. And he said that his hair was pulled, he was hit with belts. So was the kid next door. It was just the way it was, and many of the children that he saw were broken by their parents because it was the German-Austrian mentality. But he said they did not want to create an individual, and it was all about conforming. And Arnold says, I was not one who would conform. My will could not be broken, and therefore I became a rebel. So it says every time he got hit, every time somebody said you can't, he in his mind would just think, this isn't going to be for much longer because I'm going to move out of here. I want to be rich and I want to be somebody. And he saw coming to America as that way, that right. pathway. So he did he didn't do very great in school, but he stood out, as his teachers said, with a cheerful, good-humored, and exuberant character. So positive from the get-go, really, even in that kind of environment. But his soccer coach took him to the gym, took the whole soccer team to the gym when he was 14 years old, and that's when he decided, I'm going to be a bodybuilder, not a soccer player. So he started bodybuilding, and at 15 years old, so a year later, he studied psychology to learn about the power of the mind over the body. And I find that really incredible, right? This is so consistent with everything that I find on people that are successful, is just that mindset.
Right.
It's amazing. So anyways, he officially started competing at 17. At 18, he had to serve a mandatory year in the military. Back then, that's what they did. And
they still do that today.
Do they? So,
yep.
Yeah, I didn't know if they'd changed that or not. So he's at 18 years old. He spent his year in the military, but when he was going through boot camp, he bailed on boot camp, which you cannot do. It's kind of mandatory.
He kind of went AWOL.
He kind of did. So he went AWOL so he could compete in the Junior Mr. Europe contest, and he won. And then he came back and spent a week in military prison for going AWOL. They didn't like that. Arnold said that participating in the competition meant so much to him that he didn't carefully think through the consequences. But they were there when he got back. So
I'm sure.
Anyway, so he entered another bodybuilding contest, and he placed second. But he was voted best built man of Europe, which made him famous in bodybuilding circles. And that's when things really started to take off for him. So he started to set his eyes on the Mr. Universe competition, which sounds like the biggest competition in bodybuilding, but it's not. It's really kind of the second, and arguably, like, I think the Arnold Classic that's now named after him might be second. Right. Anyways, but back then, so Mr. Olympia was the be-all, end-all competition. Mr. Universe would have been considered second, I believe, back then.
Okay.
So, anyways, but he set his sights on the Mr. Universe competition. He took second in that competition. But there was a guy named Charles Wag Bennett, who was one of the judges for this competition that took interest in Arnold, wanted to help train him, coach him, saw a lot of potential. So he let this 19-year-old kid come live with him and his family, and it was crowded.
So he's 19 years old at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So he's been bodybuilding for 5 years,
Mm-hmm.
from the time he was 14 till 19.
Correct. Yep.
All right.
Yep. And he goes to live in a gym, above a gym in East London with this judge and his entire family. And it was crowded, to say the least. So it was not a big place either, but a lot of people. Anyways, though, so I was going to say, so Arnold said that staying with the Bennetts really changed him. And so I'll quote, he says, "Being with them made me so much more sophisticated. When you're the age I was then, you're always looking for approval, for love, for attention, and for guidance. At the time, I really wasn't aware of that. But now looking back, I see that the Bennett family fulfilled all of those needs, especially my need to be best in the world, to be recognized and to feel unique and special. They saw that I needed that care and attention and love." I found that interesting. He didn't get it at home, but this is where he got it.
Right.
But taking second in the Mr. Universe competition is unacceptable to Arnold, and he got to work, trained harder than he ever had before. Said he never missed a workout. If he were to miss a workout, he said he couldn't even look at himself in the mirror the next day, knowing that his competition didn't miss a workout, knowing his competition's going to outwork him, and that was a huge fear of his. It just drove him. So, yeah, he never missed a workout, just an incredible drive. And then the very next year, he took the title for the first time.
Nice.
Mr. Olympia. Becoming the youngest ever, or not Mr. Olympia, excuse me, Mr. Universe. And he became the youngest ever Mr. Universe at the age of 20 years old, and then went on to go win it 3 more times. He then went back to Germany and went to business school and, trained for the next competition, because that's what you do. And, but at this time, he really wanted to become an actor as well. And I quote, using his words, "the greatest actor." This guy does not set his sights low, right? Not only, this is just a 20-year-old kid from Germany, and,
Right.
He's like, I want to become the best actor in the world. As he's also becoming the best bodybuilder in the world. It's just, he's never sets his sights low.
Nice.
So, he moved to the U.S., starts training for the Olympia. This is, when he wants
This
to
is
go
now the
after
big time.
the big leagues. And I'd say the universe is big leagues too, but this is the NFL. This isn't college ball anymore, So, anyways, he's training at Gold's Gym in Los Angeles, California. It's a famous Gold's Gym. I believe it's some beach.
Oh,
somebody's gonna.
Oh, Muscle Beach.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It became Muscle Beach or something like that. So, anyways, it's in LA. And, he struggled quite a bit early on with his acting career, because this is where he's like, I'm going to go to LA, I'm going to train for the Olympia, I'm going to become an actor.
Was it because nobody could understand him?
I guess. So, quite literally, yeah. I mean, so what people said.
So his first movie, I'll put it up, was Hercules in New York.
Yeah.
And his voice was dubbed over. So, yeah. His first movie. Or were you getting to that? I'm sorry.
No, actually. So I didn't have that in here. But, yes, that is exactly it. Like he, people, agents and stuff had told him his voice was too weird, that all the same things that Stallone got, right? Like, your body's funny. People would say, because he's, jacked. And apparently not a lot of guys back then. I mean, now, all you got to do is turn on Instagram and everybody looks like Arnold. But, back then, that wasn't, I guess, it wasn't really common. So
Right.
They actually thought that his body was quote unquote too weird, as he said it. So, and that he had a funny accent, that his name was too long. He said, you name it, they told me I had to change it. And basically everywhere I turned, I was told that I had no chance. Again, the consistent, just never going to give up, never going to hear that rejection. They're just going to keep going. And in 1970, so Arnold is 23 at this point, he starred in his first movie, which Aaron said the title of it.
Hercules in New York.
I didn't write the title down.
Hercules
in
New York.
Hercules in New York. So he also won the Mr. Olympia title that year.
Oh, nice.
Big year for Arnold.
Nice.
Anyway, so yeah, he went on to win that title 7 more times. So, or actually, a total of 7 times. I apologize because
right.
Yeah.
I remember the last time he won it. Do you remember that whole thing that he did?
I didn't. No, I didn't. I wasn't like into it back then.
So he
right?
totally nobody even knew that he was training for it, and so he showed up to the event as like a journalist kind of thing.
Yeah,
where he was interviewing people, and so somebody asked him, "Hey, when are you going to do this thing again?" And he entered it like the next day.
Oh my gosh. I didn't know that. That's crazy.
Yeah,
so,
it was really nuts.
So he won it 7 times, which is really incredible. There's only one other person to win it more, and that would be Ronnie Coleman, but maybe down the road we'll do it on him. He's an amazing guy, man. Amazing guy.
Lightweight.
Yeah. There's a pretty cool Netflix documentary out there on Ronnie Coleman if you want to watch it.
That guy's incredible too.
He is. He's got like a broken back now though from all the lifting, so he's crippled. But
so Schwarzenegger, he did Conan too.
That was his big break was Conan the Barbarian, and so he took off. That's when acting really became. He became a superstar at that point. Just action, an action-packed superstar. So, he did Conan, and it was a massive hit as well as the sequel, and then everybody knows he did Predator, he did Expendables, he did Terminator. Yep. I mean, how many Terminator quotes are just
he did
iconic to him? Kindergarten Cop. He did a few things with Danny DeVito, and they were all major box office hits.
Oh, that's right. He did Twins.
Yeah, Twins, and he's done it all. He's made so many movies, and he just becomes such a prolific actor, just like Stallone. So he decided in 2003 that he wanted to go into politics because he had literally conquered everything else. A-list actor, biggest bodybuilder in the world. And then, what would be harder than getting elected as a Republican in California, right? Like he's the most recent Republican, governor of California. But I think that's a tough bar that's a hurdle. So, but he did it, and he spent 2 terms as the governor. I don't know. I can't do his voice, but the governor. I remember everybody always saying that. So yeah, that's what I mean. Like these quotes are just iconic to him, right? Oh yeah. Get to the chopper, right? You know who I'm talking about. It's just, anyways, pretty crazy. So yeah, he's he got out of politics, and then here's what's really funny: is he took over the TV show for Donald Trump, the Celebrity Apprentice.
Oh, The Apprentice, right?
So as he was leaving politics, going back into TV, Trump was leaving TV, going into politics, and so he took over.
Nice.
And anyways,
I actually think that there was a Sylvester Stallone movie where Arnold Schwarzenegger became president.
Man, we should look that. I don't know.
Somebody's got to
look that up.
It's called Demolition Man.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Okay, you know the name.
Oh,
right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just totally.
Right on.
Totally funny.
Yeah, you're right. He does become president in that.
They don't actually show it or anything,
but he says he is the president.
The president.
Yeah. You're right.
And I just remember thinking how funny that was.
Man.
With Wesley Snipes.
Yeah.
Yep.
In overalls.
Oh, that's funny. Yep. So he's done it all.
There you go.
Right. Even in the movies. So, anyways. He's 73 years old now, and he still works out daily. He's still making movies, and he's worth $500 million. So, nice. I think he's achieved the dreams that he was looking for.
Right.
I've got another quote. This one's from Arnold.
Let's hear it.
And it goes along with exactly what we were talking about. Funny enough, I didn't plan it that way, but he says, "The mind is the limit. As long as the mind can envision the fact that you can do something, you can do it, as long as you believe it 100%.
He gave a speech at a university,
I know the speech you're referring to.
He talks about the 6 rules of success.
Yes, the sleep faster.
Yeah,
I would recommend or whatever.
Thing.
Yeah.
Oh man,
yeah.
It is. That's a good one.
If you're watching it, on the line, look that up.
Look it up. It's called the six secrets of success, or
6 rules or 6 secrets of success
by Arnold, and it is phenomenal.
Yeah,
But I watched a documentary one time from him where he was talking about how he would actually mess with other bodybuilders, like get into their heads using his psychology trained background.
I didn't know that.
So that he could win.
Man, that's awesome.
And it is kind of crazy.
I love it.
It's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
But anyway, listen to his.
We should have him on next week.
You think?
Hey, Arnold, this is an open invitation.
Open invite.
If you want to come,
anytime. Arnold, even Stallone. We'll take either one of them.
Stallone,
we'll take them both at once.
We'll take you both if you want. So.
Oh man, yeah. I know that Mark Kohler likes to talk about Arnold and Conan and saying that Arnold just signed the documents when he signed on as Conan, and how he felt like he was taken advantage of. And so from that point forward in his career, he never signed another document without understanding every single word of it. So he became this
smart. Yeah. Right. Yeah. I highly encourage everybody to do that. Yeah.
Right. Anyway, I just think that that's pretty phenomenal. Before we conclude, I know that with all of the stories of success that come about, we have found these principles, these underlying simple, basic principles that seem to repeat themselves with success. Mm-hmm. People that are unwavering, unrelenting, that
the mind,
right? They're strong in the mind.
You got to work on your mind if you want to be successful. You have got to work on your mind.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I know that one of my goals in this life has been to become the world's best uncle.
Success.
Right?
Yeah. I think next week Aaron and I ought to get you a plaque. Make a little certificate.
Can I get one of those mugs?
Yeah, a mug.
Like the
world's best uncle. I like it. Yes.
So this is...
Somebody's got to have one of those.
It'll be in our merch. It'll be the first item in our merch store.
Yes. We're going to have a Renatus J.A.M merch store.
We need a mug. Jay's my uncle.
Jay's my uncle. Jay's your uncle right there. We should
I'll
get
be the first one to buy.
Bob's your uncle too. That's funny. So this is a shout out to all my nieces and nephews. Capri, I'm looking at you in particular. This is a shout out to little Capri.
Hi, Capri.
My niece, whose favorite uncle I have the honor of being. So
it's a big shout out.
It is a big shout out.
Right on, man.
I don't even do a shout out for my own kids.
Well, you should.
Should I?
Yeah.
I have 6 children. We'll be here a while.
Just you list all your kids. I'll start listing all of Schwarzenegger's movies. We'll see who gets done first. Who wins first.
Dang it. If I had to come up with their birthdays, you would win.
I know. Somebody just asked me that the other day. Like, my youngest that we just had, when was she born? And I was like...
Dude, it's only been like a couple weeks.
That's what I was like a couple weeks ago. Dude, I don't know. I'm so sleep deprived. I don't remember. The last 2 weeks have just been like a blur. I really did have to think about it though, because it was like it didn't stick in my mind. It was like 2 weeks ago. Nice. Anyways, yeah.
Nice. Well, my oldest is 16 now and driving and dating, and she's actually going to college right now.
Wait. Oh, she's taking like AP classes or what?
Nope.
She's like AP, in college.
Not IB, which
Holy
is the
smokes.
International Baccalaureate. Not even CE, which at the high school level is concurrent enrollment. No. She is full on enrolled at college, and they are creating a special process, a special, what's it called? What's the word I'm looking for? Like a special program where she can take her college earned credits funded by the school. Thank you very much. College earned credits and count those towards her high school degree.
Wow.
So
she's in high school so she can she's in college so she can graduate high school. How crazy is that?
Right?
Only in America.
Only in America.
Gotta love it.
Yep. And somebody said,
cool.
"Oh, Jay, you need to let your teenager be a teenager." And so I said, "You don't understand. I am not the one pushing
Yeah,
this.
you're not
This is all coming from her."
Well, and I mean, to be fair, like most of my teenage years were in my 20s. So, it can be done.
Oh, man.
And look at me. I'm a podcast success.
There you go. You are an international podcast superstar.
We've got Richard Stock on the line. Krista, she's here.
Arnold Schwarzenegger has on speed dial.
Yeah, buddy.
So I just think that, we talk about how we love to rag on millennials. We love to rag on all of these entitled kids that haven't gone through hard things.
Yeah, I love to rag on a lot of things. Yeah.
And then we see people, and honestly, all credit to my daughter and to her mother, because it didn't come from me. She got like my eyes, and that's it. And even then, the color of the eyes is wrong, but she got my eyesight. She can see 20/20.
Oh yeah.
But there are so many kids out there that are out there cranking right now, that are not sitting back, just allowing the world to meet their every need, but are out there creating mad success. And I see that as being just a reflection of these stories that you tell, just these underlying attitudes, these mental adjustments that go on for people that create great things in the world. It is not technology. It is not the latest and greatest. It is a tried and true tradition that spans all of mankind.
It does.
You want to be successful, it starts with you.
People have dreams, and I think there'll always be people who want to stand out, who want to succeed, who want to do and be bigger and better and lead and do all these great things, make a difference in the world, and however they want to do that. But I think it's always been a thing. It probably will always be a thing, I would imagine. And if you want to be one of those people, then you've got to be one of those people. Never quit. Never. And and if you're going to let it go, if you're going to quit, if you're going to, it's not going to drive you, then as I see it, you can't be jealous and you can't be mad or upset at the world that you don't have it.
Right.
That's the way I see it.
Right. It's like the people that complain about politics who don't vote.
Yeah. That's precisely, that's exactly it. It's like,
get in the game.
Go vote. Yeah.
But everyone on the line, and everybody needs to understand that when you commit to success, that is living in a bus station, selling off your wife's jewelry, selling your dog.
That is both feet in commitment, man. Yeah.
You can't go halfway. If you go halfway, you will only find unhappiness.
Right.
But if you commit fully, if you dive into success, if you allow nothing to stand in your way. I love that there's a quote that's attributed to Mr. T, and I can't remember what's his real name. I can't even remember what his real name is.
Let's see.
Mr. T.
I think Aaron's going to get
Aaron's going to pull it up. So the quote that I got on him, is it really just Mr. T? He's got to have a real name. Anyway, the quote is that don't bother with plan B. It just gets in the way of plan A.
Yeah.
And I love that idea.
Yeah.
If you're going to go for success,
go for it.
Go for it.
Yeah.
And don't let anything stand in your way.
Yep.
Don't worry about plan B. If you're truly committed to success, you will engage. And anytime that you get knocked down, that's an opportunity to stand back up and keep going. You are not going to have that loss of enthusiasm.
Right.
What's that quote? Going from failure to failure
without losing enthusiasm.
Yeah.
Who says that?
Man, sorry. I know I'm getting off on a lot of different quotes here.
So Mr. T's real name is B.A. Baracus, and apparently he was part of a squad, a mercenary squad called the A-Team. That's what I'm seeing on Wikipedia. No, his real name is Lawrence Tureaud.
Lawrence
Tureaud.
And I know that he's got a fascinating history as well. He was in the Army, and one time he got in trouble. And I don't remember what he got in trouble for. And so as a punishment, his higher ups, his higher ranking officer, told him to start chopping down trees. And he came back an hour later, and he had cleared like 200 trees.
The forest is gone. He's like, oh, crap. I'm responsible for this now. That's funny. So success consists of going from failure to failure without loss of enthusiasm, and that's Winston Churchill.
Yeah. Love that guy.
Fantastic.
He's got
quote.
some of the best quotes.
Oh, he's got. There's a few people out there that have all the quotes.
Oh,
and
Churchill's one of them.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Definitely. All right. Well, you know what? I think that's been a fantastic podcast.
I feel like this was good. It was fun. I love going through this stuff.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah.
Well, we'll have to do it again
Yep.
in a short while and have you kind of cover some more of the
I got plenty of them.
And we'll talk a little bit more about some of the attitudes that it takes to be successful.
Right on.
But you know what, Matthew? Thank you for sharing so much. I want to thank everybody that tuned in again this week. It's just been another exciting episode. We are going onwards and upwards. Never forget, the reason why Renatus rocks is because of the people that are associated with it, and that includes you. Renatus rocks.